Donald Trump this week finally paid the $392,000 that he owes to the New York Times after a lawsuit that he had filed against them many years ago was dismissed last year. So here's what happened. Donald Trump, as per usual, was angry about the New York Times reporting in the year 2018 because they had worked with his niece, Mary Trump, who gave them tax documents for Donald that she had in her possession as part of, estate, deals and wills and all that stuff. So she provided it to the New York Times. The New York Times posted it, ran articles about it, and Trump, once he left office, sued. Because he said this was, what was the phrase he used? Tortious interference. It was somehow in 2018, it was interference with something, right? We don't exactly know what it was interfering with, but Trump's lawyers told us, no, they were interfering with something. We're not sure what it was. And last year, finally, the judge looked at this and they said, no. You don't have a case. The New York Times did not do anything wrong. They reached out to somebody who had the information. That individual gave them the information. They published it. Guess what? They're a publisher. And guess what? Their right to freedom of speech is not only enshrined in the U.S. Constitution, but it's also enshrined in the New York State Constitution. Therefore, the judge says, I'm not only dismissing your lawsuit, but I'm going to make you pay their legal fees, which amounted to close to $400,000, which Donald Trump again paid this week. So, Donald Trump has not yet posted his bond in the E. Jean Carroll case in order to appeal it. He actually filed with the court this week saying that, hey, he's so rich, he shouldn't have to pay it. Which, if you were so rich, you actually wouldn't have a problem paying it. In the New York fraud trial, his lawyers did file the notice of appeal this week. However, there is no indication that they paid the bond to even be able to appeal. So Trump hadn't paid that money. He just had to pay out $400,000 to the New York Times for suing them for a story that, by the way, they won the Pulitzer Prize for. Trump is in bad shape financially, folks. His arguments with the courts like, oh, I'm so rich, I shouldn't have to pay this. It's not because he's so rich that he shouldn't have to pay. It's because he doesn't have enough money to pay all of them right now. I mean, losing $400,000 when you have $400 million allegedly in the bank, according to Trump himself, I mean, that's a big deal. It may not be the end of the world for him, right? What is that, like 1% maybe? 0.1%? But nevertheless, when you have hundreds of millions of dollars that you already have to pay out, another $400 check that you have to write, $400,000 check you have to write, that's a big deal. So Trump is losing money hand over fist. He cannot pull this out of his campaign accounts. This has to come from his bank account. And he's being bled dry, not only because he's losing cases filed against him, but because he's so litigious that he loves to just file these lawsuits, doesn't care if he wins or loses, he just wants to screw over the other party. But now in the end, it's coming back to screw him at the worst possible time.